وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم تب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم آمين. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What we are doing, in case if we have new guests, now we are reviewing chapter Al-Baqarah. We spent, by the will of Allah, by the blessings of Allah, 3 years in giving the interpretation of chapter Al-Baqarah. Now, because it took a long time, so sometimes the review is very important because you need to sum up a lot of things we have highlighted for 3 years. This is the longest chapter in the Quran, the biggest chapter in the Quran, the highest level of legislations in the Quran, ahkam, rulings, teachings, incidents, history. It's by the way, chapter Al-Baqarah, if I'm not exaggerating, it's encyclopedia by itself. So a review is a must because we need when you remember Al-Baqarah, just some certain things should be clear in your mind. So by the way, in the review, I'm just picking and choosing the most important points. Every session, I'm trying to sum up around 5 to 7 sessions, the most important. What took us for about 8 to 10 hours, I will be doing now in an average 50 minutes, just to fix the meanings in your mind. So last time, we highlighted in the third part of the review, we highlighted the story of Adam alayhi salam, which is one of the most important stories in our faith, the beginning of the creation, and the discussion that happened between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels when He decided to create a new successive authority on earth. Inni ja'alun fil ardi Khalifa. And we tried to remind you with some important points that should be fixed in the mind. In our faith, Adam was not punished and he was not kicked outside. We don't believe in the original sin, okay? Adam was created from the very beginning to go to earth. Because inni ja'alu fil ardi khalifa. This is from the very beginning. Why he was put in the Jannah? Basically like the first phase to try it, and Allah wanted him, when you understand the context, to be exposed to a serious experience in a very safe area. When he realized the concept of enmity, the lying, the attack, that there is a real enemy before you go to start your tests, be aware, but in a secured area. Have you realized? Go and do your job, wallahu a'lam, in my simple, humble languages. And as we said last time, the concept of original sin, it's completely rejected in Islam, unacceptable. There is no inheritance in sin. Actually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قال وعصى آدم ربه فغوى ثم تاب عليه ربه فهدى. Forget it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He repented, and both of them, they were accepted. خلاص. That case was closed. There is nothing such as they came to earth and they were inheriting the sin and they are inheriting it for us. Completely rejected in Islam. This is very important because, as I told you, this is a core in other religions. A basic core, which is not in Islam. This is one of the things that we said. And we said about the importance of ilm, knowledge. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. And we highlighted the importance between aql and ilm. We say aql, the intellect, the power of intellect, okay, it's a tool. The mind, the brain, it's a tool, just. The tool, whatever you give this tool, will process or will proceed. Garbage in, garbage out. Good in, good out. So people will say, I believe in my aql or in my habib, be careful. It depends what is the input. Let anyone go to a place where it's full of witches and magicians and this kind of magical things. His mind will be full of filthy, dirty things and wrong and myths and, magical things and aliens things. And this is the only thing. We'll process and we'll accept it and we'll do it. So it depends what comes. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was favoring Adam by ilm, not by al-aql. All of us, we have the aql, be careful, okay? The processing tool, we have it. But what comes here? One of the most difficult mathematicians and physicians, they are atheists. Stephen Hawking. What did his aql benefit him? He rejected God by arrogance. Simply, that there is no God. So the importance of what? Al-ilm, the knowledge. That's why Allah, and it comes from Allah. Because the one who knows what inside this universe is the one who created it. We have no access to everything. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allama. This is one of the things. He gave this knowledge to Adam. And one of the things that we highlighted last time, that we as Muslims, we reject completely the whole notion and idea of primitive humans. Because Adam was created with full knowledge. He came, he knows the names of the things. So the people of the cave, it could be a possibility, but not because this is the origin of the humans. It, as I told you, now we are the 21st century. We have people who are taking photos for March, millions of kilometers, yet we have people in the jungles. True or false? Now. Do we have people of jungles or not? Very primitive. Yes or no? But how come? How come in the same time we have this and this? It could happen at a certain time. It does not mean that there is the descendants of Adam who have a knowledge and they know what to do and they know to speak and they know the language and they know. It doesn't matter. Even if these pictures, what could be false as well. We don't know. Okay? Delusion or whatever, regardless. But according to the Quran, allama Adam, he gave him the names. To a degree, even the angels, they were impressed. وَسَجَدَ. They were asked to do this sujood out of respect for his spirit and his knowledge. Our Father Adam alayhi salam. We need to know these things because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored Bani Adam. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي We have honored the sons of Adam. We are honored by Allah. Allah gave us a special status, by the way, better than the angels themselves. Angels, they don't have desires. They don't have the power to say no. Allah honored us to a degree. He gave us the spirit, the creation, the ability, the processing system, the knowledge and the willpower to say no for Allah. Wow. By the way, the only two beings that we know that they have the willpower to say no against Allah, to be rebellious against Allah, the jinn and the human beings. That's it. The rest, they are just, they go within their fitr, inner nature. They can't say no. Animals, insects, all different creatures, angels, all of them, they just full submitted. They don't have the willpower to say no, except us and the jinn, the only. That's why Jahannam and the Jannah, they will be filled with these two kinds, human beings and the jinn, because we have believers from the jinn, like us, exactly. وَأَنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِنَ الْإِنسِ يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَأَنَّا مِنَّا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَمِنَّا الْقَاسِطُونَ. We have the believers, the jinn, they have it. Anyway, this is, we highlighted last time. Today, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, we will, and maybe one of the things that I forgot to say last time, just to remind you, we as Muslims, we believe in four different types of human beings. Types. What do I mean? Type number one, a human being without father and mother, which is Adam alayhi salam. Human being without mother, Hawa, Eve. Eve was created from Adam. Eve does not have a mother. She has just a male figure. She was created from Adam. Adam was created from soil and dust, which is no father, no mother. Type 2, creation from Adam, which is Hawa. There is no female. Type number 3, Isa alayhi salam, which is a mother without a father. Type number 4, all of us, father and mother. None of us, it's impossible, none of us, except these 3 categories, which is 3 specific persons, just Adam, Hawa, Isa. These 3, it's type 1, type 2, type 3. Very specific, very specific, very specific. The rest of humanity, billions and billions and billions and billions from a father and mother. Okay? This should be highlighted in the context of Adam alayhi salam. Today, and we, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad, we mentioned as well the why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the stories of the children of Israel. We told you they have preceded us and they are from a close groups of prophets and messengers called us, and simply Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to mention them. And today, and the most important story, last time we said, which is the most important story in chapter Al-Baqarah, is the story of the Baqarah, which is the story of the cow. And the core point of that story, as we said, which is the arguing, postponing, to keep, trying to avoid the evasion of trying to avoid to apply the rulings, which means why, when, how, what's the color, who said so and so. Khalas, just, you receive the commandment, do it. Just do it. Today we will continue, inshallah. Now, from the things that we mentioned later, that time, that in 15 pages of chapter Al-Baqarah, we will find 25 stories in 95 ayah, all of them 25 stories in 15 pages about the children of Israel in chapter Al-Baqarah. Now, from the top of them, which is worshipping the calf, ibadat al-ajl. From top of them, دخول القرية, which is وإذ أخذنا ميثاقكم وإذ قلنا لكم ادخلوا هذه القرية وكلوا منها رغدا حيث شئتم وادخلوا الباب سجدا. Allah commanded them to get into one of the cities or one of the towns and to prostrate for Allah. According to the historians, it's the city of Jericho. They did not apply the commandments. The calf, for example, they have just been saved by Allah from Pharaoh. Just recently later, they worshipped the calf, which means not applying the attitude of gratitude. Instead, rejection. So why we have all of these stories? Now, the whole idea is always they are a lesson for us because we are going through something similar, and it happened that we have went through such things in the past, and now we are going through something similar to these stories, and we will mention some stories starting from today. Now, I said subhanallah, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the story of the Al-Baqarah, فَقُلْنَا ضْرِبُوهُ بِبَعْضِهَا, which means the whole idea of chapter Surah the cow, it was someone was killed in one of the villages. They had like a number of villages there. Someone was found killed. They came to the Prophet. Okay, Ya Rasulullah, or the Messenger of Allah, Musa alayhi salam, who help us to know who's the killer, who's the murderer. Simply Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called, اذبحوا بقرة, slaughter a cow, to know who. They started the arguing now. Okay, what is it? Is it such and such? The old, the age, the color, the weight, the shape, the color, all of these things. Now, the whole idea, what was, if I am someone, now let's talk to the focal point, which could be applicable on us. Actually, it is applicable on us now. If my character in dealing with the ahkam of Allah was my character, my attitude, قال التهرب من الالتزام بالأحكام, which means I'm always trying to avoid applying the teachings by keep asking, what if this is applicable? I'm not convinced. Who said so? How can I know? Who proved it? Who's from ulama said it? Who said so? Is there a different opinion? I don't feel, all of these things, okay? What is the result? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, the one who is holding this character with the teaching of Allah, ثُمَّ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ فَهِيَ كَالْحِجَارَةِ أو أشد قسوة وإن من الحجارة لما يتفجر منه الأنهار وإن منها لما يهبط من خشية الله وإن منها ولأن منها لما يشقق فيخرج منها الماء وإن منها لما يهبط من خشية الله وما الله بغافل عما تعملون. Look, I will read the translation of this ayah now. The idea, if my attitude towards the rulings and teachings of Allah was always trying to avoid, to find an excuse not to apply it. This is an attitude. It's an attitude, okay? Whatever happens, I don't think so. Who said so? Prove it to me. I heard one of the ulama said this is not all the time. If this is, I will be punished by qaswat al-qalb. Which is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. Even then, your hearts became hardened like a rock. The hearts became like a rock. Or even harder. For some rocks gush rivers, which means your hearts became much worse than the rocks itself. Now, the rock is a symbolic thing for toughness, which you see, قلبه زي الصخر, we say, okay? His heart like the stone, which means no feelings, no emotions, no human feelings. خلاص, he's closed, finished, finito. we use it now. So as if Allah said, if this is at your attitude with the teachings of Allah, you will be someone, your heart will be much hardened than the rock itself, which means this will not receive the revelation, no blessings, no benefit. Wallahu a'lam. For some rocks gush rivers, others split, spilling water, while others are humbled in awe of Allah, and Allah is never unaware of what you do. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. And by the way, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. The examples of keep arguing and keep refusing and trying, and you don't care with the ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like now, some Muslims, for example, when they speak about mixed parties or leaving the hijab or having boyfriend or girlfriend, trying to change, who said so? This ulama did not say, I feel, I think, I don't, I'm not convinced, who said so? Hardened, the heart will be hardened, inshallah. Now, next, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. One of the great lessons, and we say, وَقَالُوا لَن تَمَسَّنَا النَّارُ إِلَّا أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودًا. Part of the ayat that we explained, that this group of previous believers, they said, and be careful about this, the hellfire will not touch us except for a few days. Look, we know we will go to the hellfire. However, we will stay there just for a few days. Allah is telling us that a group of those previous believers, they reached to a level of arguing and arrogance with Allah as believers. Be careful. They were believers. But their hearts, they reached to a level, they were arguing in a tough way with their Lord to a degree, we will go, and we know that we will go, but just for a few days. We said, let's be aware as Muslims from this end result. Which means, because this logically, this ayah includes the following. We as believers, we know we are committing sin. We realize that God has created the hellfire, and we know we are committing haram, and we will go to the hellfire, but just for a few days. Who said so? Who decides for how long I will stay in the hellfire? This is in the hand of who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you have a covenant with Allah? None of us has. So fear Allah. Be careful. This idea now, forget them. Let's talk about us now. Let's talk about us. Wallahi, I remember myself, I used to hear some of the youth in my age, if I'm not mistaken, more than 30 years ago. Before I started university, more or less 35 years ago, the youth in my age at that time, 15, 16, 17, when they want to make a joke while they are committing haram thing, saying bad words against the sisters in the street, or watching some bad things, for example, in the magazines, or saying some jokes which contains haram things, or doing anything haram, they used to act as if they have a sense of humor while doing the haram. They used to say the following: يلا يا شيخ نتشعوط شوي في جهنم ونطلع. نتشعوط. I think just Jordanians and Palestinians will understand what I'm talking about. Who can help me in translating نتشعوط? حج نعيم كيف نترجم نتشعوط شوي في جهنم؟ No English? No, seriously, help me. نتشعوط. تعرفوا الشعوطة انتو؟ ها؟ كيف لما تجيب الدجاجة بتحطها شوي هيك على شعوطة؟ Seriously, how to translate شعوطة? None of you?
Touch the flames, something like that.
Yes, to touch the flames. Okay. تفضل ترجم. اليونج جنريشن يا عم انجلش. ها؟ روست؟ روستينج؟ Okay. Shall yes, okay. It's as if they were saying, look, wallahi, I witnessed people. They were saying, while committing the haram, while are in the process of committing haram, they were laughing and saying, ya sheikh, okay? We will be roasted just for a while in Jahannam, then we will leave. Wallahi, it's exactly this attitude. Exactly. لن تمسنا النار إلا أياما معدودة. Allah is warning us from this. Don't ever say, okay, we will be roasted, which means you know that Jahannam does exist. طبعا, I believe in that, Shaykh. You think you are the only believer, ya Shaykh? And you know that committing haram, yes, definitely. And you know it's a kabir, yes. But you know, just sha'wata. We will just be roasted just for a while. Exactly the same attitude. How does this happen? It's very, very dangerous. You see, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. This reminds me with always I kept, repeating this example. I'm sorry for repeating it, but because one of the most powerful examples happened in my life. Jama'at al-Qalb al-Abyad, do you remember them? Okay? The white-hearted people. It happened with me that one of the sisters came to my office at Jordan University. She came to me, in a mixed attitude. She was asking but challenging at the same time, okay? Because I was teaching the Islamic culture and I was exposed to speak with, hundreds and thousands of people and, speaking. She came to me, I said, Doctor, look, yes, it's okay. I know myself. In Arabic, أنا بحكيها بالعربي جنا translate it. قالت دكتور صحيح أنا مصاحبة وما بصلي ومو محجبة بس أنا قلبي أبيض وما بكذب والله بيعرف. Literally, she said, okay, it's okay. I do have a boyfriend in my face. I do have a boyfriend. It's okay. I know. And I don't pray and I'm not wearing the hijab. But I have a white heart and I don't lie and Allah knows. Which means, hey, Sheikh, don't interfere between us and Allah. Out. يلا اطلع منها يا شيخ. اطلع. You see? This is the meaning, as if she's telling me. So one of the things that I remember, because it happened about 20 years ago or less, I said, sister, please, just tell me about your methodology, your mentality. On what base, I know, because to the best of my knowledge, I think you agree with me. The one who told you not to lie is the same one who told you to wear the hijab. Yes or no? And the one who told you to have a white heart, may Allah accept from you, is the same one who told you not to have a boyfriend. On what base you picked and choose? And you decided that it's okay to have a boyfriend, it's okay not to pray, it's okay, but alhamdulillah, I have a white heart, which is excellent. Plus, I don't lie, and that's it. Khalas, and Allah bi'araf. So I know that Allah knows. I mean, on what base you decide to pick and choose? that this is acceptable or not acceptable, this is exactly the same attitude. Which means, I decide. I decide. As if I have appointed myself above the decision of Allah. Practically. Got my point? Which is very, very strange. Sorry, very dangerous to think in this way. We explained that. Then we moved in this context, and we explained at that time that the concept of Iman, that belief and disbelief, it's not an Islamic invention. Be careful. When you speak about mu'min and kafir, or belief and disbelief, it's not an Islamic invention. All religions, they believe in that. Because some people, they say, you believe that you have believers and unbelievers. It's not just us. Anyone who believes, who is very dedicated to Judaism, he believes. If you don't believe in Judaism, you are what? A disbeliever in Judaism. Common sense. If you are a dedicated Christian, the one who does not believe in the divinity of Jesus Christ in Christianity, for you as a Christian, he is what? A disbeliever in Christianity. Am I exaggerating, or this is a common sense? I mean, the idea of belief and disbelief, it's not because sometimes they kept saying, look, you Muslims, you are you have exclusive, you should be inclusive, not exclusive. Ya Habib, this is a faith point. It's not my choice. It's not pick and choose thing. It's a faith-based thing, which does exist in all religions. If you don't believe in Buddhism, for Buddhists, you are what? A disbeliever in Buddhism. Because many times we repeat it. Disbelief, which is the Islamic terminology, is kufr, means rejection and denial. It's very simple terminology. So keep in your mind that this is a common terminology, exists in all religions. Very simple. Next, we highlighted at that time, in that context, I remembered a very nice example when I was, it's a real story, happened between Ahmed Deedat and James Swigert. I think some of you maybe watched this debate. Ahmed Deedat and James Swigert. There is a very famous debate between James Swigert, a very, very well-known priest in the United States. Ahmed Deedat, rahimahullah, he used to be one of the great, let's say, debaters between Christianity and Islam, and he spent about 45 years traveling around the world debating with Christian priests in specific. So there's a debate called the Great Debate, Al-Munadhara Al-Kubra, happened in the United States. I forgot, 91, 92, more or less. You can find it in the idea. One of the very interesting things happened between Ahmed Deedat and James Swigert. James Swigert wanted to trap Ahmed Deedat in something. He said, look, he wanted to speak about the discrimination from his point of view that Muslims apply by not allowing non-Muslims to get into Mecca and Al-Medina. You know this, in Islam, it's prohibited for a non-Muslim to get into Mecca and Al-Medina. So he said that he was mocking Ahmed Deedat. He said, you, Mecca and Medina, you don't allow the people to come. Then Ahmed Deedat smiled and he said, excuse me, do you consider this is wrong? He said, yes, definitely. This is discrimination, this is such and such. He said, okay. I'm from South Africa, originally from India. If I want to come to your country, United States, do you allow me to come just when I decide to come, or you will ask me to have a visa? Simple question. Simple question. Visa. To obtain a visa, you need to do what? To fulfill a list of conditions. One of them, give us every place you have visited. Give us the names of all of your friends and families. Give us such and such. Provide a bank account for all of your money transactions. True or false? Prove to us that you have blah, 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 whatever. You have to fulfill, yes or no? Few requirements. If you do not meet the requirements, even if you meet the requirements, is it granted for you to have a visa to the United States? Yes or no? No. He said, on what base you put conditions to come? You are a secular country. Where is the problem? While for me, yes, I have requirement to get to Medina. Just say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. You can say it hypocritically. No one can prevent you. Just say it. Just say it. Okay. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Tfaddal to Makkah. What? Who's easier? But what if I love United States? I'm ready to die for United States, but I can't fill the financial requirements. I don't have a bank account. Out. Who's more tolerant? Who's more tolerant? Seriously, I'm not joking. Who's more tolerant? I tell you, there's a condition. طبعا, everyone has a condition. Can you come to Canada without a visa? I mean, the idea is not just the visa. You have requirements. Many of us we can't achieve. Many of us. Just simple one of them. Prove your financial status. But millions of people, they don't have bank accounts. They don't have it. They can't prove it officially. They can't. Even if they have money, they don't have bank accounts. They don't deal with banks for whatever reason. Back in our countries, many people, they don't deal with banks. They deal with cash. True or false? I mean, how many of your parents back, they deal with credit cards? Even if they know credit cards aslan. Okay, prove to us. Ya ammi, I don't have a bank account. Out. Yalla. Kish. Yeah. So who's more tolerant? You know, this happened in the context of belief and disbelief. Okay? Exclusivity and inclusivity. Acceptance and rejection. Okay? Inclusion and exclusion. We did this because once this is mentioned, all of these meanings revolves around this. We say, no, yes. Do we have a condition? Yes. Fulfill it. Just say Ashhadu an la ilaha. Just one word. Say it. Imagine if you say a word, you will be a citizen of the United States. Wallahi ya habibi. Just a word. For example, a condition. You have to say, I love America and I'm ready to defend America, for example. Khalas, you are an American citizen. How many person will be an American citizen now? Yes, seriously. This is how easy Islam is. Just say it. But what if I'm lying? I don't care. If you lie, Allah will hold you accountable, not me. For me, I have to deal with you as a Muslim. Finito. No need to prove to me your financial status. No need to prove to me that you were not in the military. No need to prove to I don't need. Just say it. And let us see you with us in the masjid. Be nice of us, you are a Muslim. If you passed away, we will pray in you and we put janazah and we'll take care of your kids. We will make dua for you. What can I do more than that? How easy it is. How simple it is. Wallahi, by the way, this is not an emotional attitude. I'm using common sense now. I'm using math. I'm using logic. I'm talking about technical, practical conditions. Because this happened in terms of discussing Iman and disbelief in the context of getting into Mecca or not allowed. When you compare it with the secular world, we have much easier, tolerant conditions. I'm not discussing with religions now, I'm discussing with liberal, secular world. Can you buy a house without a credit history? Can? No. But what if I'm a simple, humble person? I'm honest, but I don't have a credit. I don't have a credit card. It's my first time. No one will let you. Can you rent a house? No. No. In Islam, just simple word. Someone recommended you. He's a trustworthy person, present with the masjid. خلاص تفضل, rent a house. Finito. Finito. خلاص انتهى. That's it. Who's easier? Who's more simple? Who's less complicated? By the way, I'm not comparing between religions now. I'm comparing between secular, liberal world and Islam. Okay? اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. Then we discussed ولما جاءهم كتاب من عند الله مصدق لما معهم. We then highlighted the concept. This is a group of previous believers. They had an idea about the prophet that is coming. Yet when he came, they rejected him. Then we highlighted the concept. I'm just picking and choosing from the ayat because I'm reviewing, okay? Reviewing the most important concepts. So we highlighted the concept. A group of believers, they were aware 100% of something. When it happened, they rejected it. Is it possible? We said 100 times yes. And Muslims, they are doing this many times. And so some of them rejected and some of them accepted. From the great examples we highlight about those who were waiting and they accepted. Allah praised a number of Christian priests when he said وَإِذَا تَرَى أَعْيُنَهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ حَزَنًا مِمَّا عَرَفُوا who can remind me of the ayah? تَرَى أَعْيُنَهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ حفظة القرآن يلا ساعدوني. تَرَى أَعْيُنَهُمْ تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ. What's next? مِمَّا عَرَفُوا مِنَ الْحَقِّ. But what's the next word? تَفِيضُ مِنَ الدَّمْعِ. أني حافظ.
وإذا سمعوا ما أنزل إلى الرسول ترى أعينهم تفيض من الدمع
مما عرفوا من الحق. جزاك الله خير. ترى أعينهم تفيض من He came from outside, by the way. جزاك الله خير, brother. You know, this is the privilege of the حافظ. وإذا سمعوا ما أنزل من الحق وإذا سمعوا ما أنزل إلى الرسول ترى أعينهم تفيض مما عرفوا من الحق. Which means they start crying out of happiness because this is the truth that they already know. So they accepted Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah praised them in a great ayah, the group. And we have from the big rabbis who accepted the haqq, you can memorize these two names. One of the great Sahaba, these two. They became a great Sahaba. One of them is Zayd ibn al-Su'unnah. He was a great rabbi. Zayd ibn al-Su'unnah, and the other one is Abdullah bin Salam. Abdullah bin Salam and Zayd ibn al-Su'unnah. We mentioned their stories in details, okay, at that time. Then we move to another concept, which is the concept of, we learned from this concept that, okay, I know something, I'm convinced in something, but there's possible I reject what I'm fully convinced in. So as not to be shocked from the reality when you know, which means when you speak about disbelief has nothing necessarily to do with not being convinced. It has to do with submission, not just conviction. And I might be fully convinced in something, but simply I don't care. I don't care. The best example, some Arab security forces in some Arab countries. The officer who's torturing the victim, he knows for sure that this is an innocent victim. He knows for sure. So he's convinced he's innocent. But he is what? Torturing him. If it's a matter of qana'a, convention, Habibi, Mr. Officer, come. Do you know that this person has done nothing? Yes, I know, طبعا. But why you are torturing him? Because, you know, we accused him that he did such and such. But do you know who did it? Yes, we did it. So, you did it, yes. And you are torturing him because he did it, yes. Because we decided to accuse him that he did it. And what are you doing now? I'm torturing him for the thing that I accused him, that I know that I did it. What's this? He has a full faith that this is a false accusation. Full faith. Yet he is what? Torturing him. How many people of those we find in the Arab and Muslim world? What do you think? I'm not talking just those who torture. I mean who know and they do completely something else. They don't care with what they are convinced. They know. But this theoretical faith has no value at all in Islam. This conviction has no value. I repeat, the biggest example, which is more than that, is Iblis himself. Do you think Iblis was linguistically or theoretically was a kafir? Which means he does not know. Yani, Iblis, did he deny God's existence? Yes or no? طيب. Was he unaware that Allah is the creator? Was he unsure that Allah is the most powerful? No. Now, if you take this in consideration, he's much better than many of the Arab so-called Muslims. But what was his problem? He rejected the commandments. Was it to do with knowledge? No. Conviction? No. No. Certainty? No. He was certain. He knows. He rejected. نقطة. But what was the motivation of rejection? Arrogance. Sometimes you have different motivations. Sometimes my interests. Now, many media people, when they lie intentionally and they know that they are lying, why they do it? For money. They know that they are lying. Do you remember that CNN presenter at the beginning of when she was acting as if do you remember? Well, she did not care. She was lying on air. The people, they were watching while she was making the rehearsal. She was practicing to make the lie. And they did not notice that she was on air. And all the people, they saw her. Say, okay, try now to put your shoulder like this and act, okay, I'm very sorry. Because they did not know that on air. She was practicing how to make the lie a few minutes later. Can we say she was ignorant? No, she knows. Does she know that she's lying? Yes. Is she aware that she's lying? Yes. Full confidence in her? Yes. But what prevented her from saying the truth? Fame, position, money, whatever, many reasons. Regardless, the end result, she rejected saying the truth, and she rejected accepting for the truth. This is very important, and it happens. So that's why all the time we must keep seeking the guidance of Allah, of at-tawfiq, you know? Our hearts, it's not just the ilm, not the knowledge, not even the convention. Because we say, okay, I want to study this, if I understood it, خلاص everything. La habibi, you need to have to avoid the heart diseases, because sometimes you have the knowledge, but still you have the arrogance. You don't want to submit to what you know. This is much more important. Wallahi, to be ignorant, you will be saved, because Allah will consider your ignorance. But sometimes you have a knowledge and you don't want to submit. This is the disaster. This is the biggest disaster, because you know and you are aware. But okay, why I'm focusing on this? To avoid. So it's not a matter of just seeking the knowledge. No. I managed to have and I understand, but I was afraid to lose my position. I was afraid to lose my status, money. Many people, they know it, subhanallah. In this context, I mentioned some stories. I will mention some of them now and I will finish, inshallah. At that time, I want just to remind you, one of the very well-known, let's say, examples and then stories, the sisters who does not wear the hijab while she's completely convinced. She's convinced. They say, the sisters who say, who use the word, or forget this example. The story that I mentioned in that context about the knowledge and conviction, but the rejection, I remember at that time, I mentioned to you the story happened maybe 20 years ago in New York. It was a very interesting story. One of the dua, he said, you know, New York, it has a big percentage of Jewish community in New York City. So one of Jewish, let's say, youth, he converted to Islam. So he started coming to the masjid. He was a very nice, a new Muslim convert. The people loved him at the masjid, and he was very nice for practicing Islam. Then the new Muslim convert came to the Imam and said, brother, my mother wants to have an appointment with you. He said, okay, she's welcome. Is she a Muslim or still she's a Jew? He said, he's still a Jewish, but she wants to speak with you. He said, okay, she's welcome. Please let her come. He gave them an appointment. So when she came, out of respect for the masjid, this Jewish sister, the mother, she put something like the hijab. So she, if you saw him, you will think she is a Muslim. Actually, she's not a Muslim, but she's wearing the hijab out of respect for the masjid. So when she approached the imam, when he saw her, I said, brother, you said your mother is not a Muslim. He says, yes, she's still a Jew, but she's wearing this out of respect. I said, okay, please, sister, go ahead. What is your question? She said, I came to you just to beg you to take care of my son to stay as a Muslim. I said, excuse me? I said, I'm confused. Are you a Jew or a Muslim? She said, I'm a Jewish. And you want me to take care of your kid to stay what? She said, a Muslim. No, I'm confused. I mean, there's something wrong. What's the story? I mean, please repeat again. You are what? I'm a Jewish. You want your son to stay what? A Muslim. Said, please, I mean, I have a gap. There's something wrong. What's the story? She said, you know, my son, he was born traditionally as a Jew, but he was not practicing anything. Now, he started to deal with drugs, with some gangs, and he all the time, he's addict. All the time he used to come to the house, nearly every day. He used to hit me in my face or to hurt me or to, you know, give me this kind of punch in my face because he was losing his conscience. So I suffered a lot every day. He used to torture me daily. Now he became a Muslim, he became very nice. The best person, he's respecting me, he's taking care of me, and he's doing every excellent behavior any mother imagines. I mean, with love, he's doing with me. So please, keep him as a Muslim. You see? Which means now from one angle, she felt the benefit of the reality when her son became a Muslim. But she herself does not want. It has to do with the tradition, she's convinced she does not want khalas. But have you discovered how beneficial this system is? Yes, I'm begging you to keep him as it, which means you know. Yes, I know, but I don't want. But please let him stay as is. This happens. It happens for many reasons, but this is one of the stories. Now, in the other side, it's good to finish with this story for us as Muslims. Al-Adab al-Mufrad, in one of his books, Imam al-Bukhari narrated, not in Sahih al-Bukhari, in another book, which contains, another level of ahadith. It's called Al-Adab al-Mufrad, a book called Al-Adab al-Mufrad. Imam al-Bukhari narrated a hadith which has a high level of authenticity, but not inside the book of Sahih al-Bukhari. قال ذكرت فلانة. I will say the hadith in Arabic, then I will change it in English. Now, just to conclude some of the great things about knowing the haqq and practicing the haqq. Okay? It's not just if I know something and I practice something against, it will be against me. You need to know, believe, submit according to what you know. The whole package will be completed. Now he says, قال ذكرت فلانة عند رسول الله. He said, while Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sitting, some of the Sahaba, they say, Ya Rasulullah, we hear from our wives, from a woman, قال ذكرت فلانة عند رسول الله, قال تصوم الدهر. Most of the time she's fasting. قال وتقوم الليلة. Most of the nights she's doing qiyam, which is one of the top. No one can most of the time fasting, most of the time doing a qiyam. قال وتتصدق بالمال الكثير. And she's giving charity and sadaqah with a great amounts of money. قال وتؤذي جيرانها بلسانها. But all the time she's hurting her neighbors with her tongue. Which is, she's doing so and so, I don't know, wallahi, I'm not sure, but she told me blah, 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 blah. She's creating, the backbiting. The backbiting and ghiba and al-namima. قال تؤذي جيرانها. She's hurting her neighbors all the time. قال هي لا خير فيها هي من أهل النار. He said there is no khair in this woman. She is from the people of the hellfire. She's doing qiyam every night. And she's doing siyam every day. And she's doing sadaqah all the time. قال لا خير فيها. There's no خير, no goodness. She's from the people of the hellfire. قال وذكرت فلانة. And then they mentioned, قال يا رسول الله, and we heard about another woman from our wives. They did not mention the names, a woman. قال لا تصلي إلا فرضها. She's just praying the fard. No nafil, no additional, no duha, no qiyam, no salat awabin, nothing, just the fard. قال ولا تصوم إلا شهرها. She fasts just Ramadan and that's it. No the 3 white days أيام البيض, no Wednesday, no Thursdays and Mondays, nothing at all. قال وتتصدق بأثوار. Athwar means the very little thing, like we say in the Egyptian language, say malalim, which means the very, very small change, as if she just small pennies, just okay, you know, just 5 cents, 10 cents or whatever, which is nothing. قال لكنها لا تؤذي أحدا بلسانها. She does not hurt anyone in her tongue. قال هي من أهل الجنة. Said she is from the people of the Jannah. Immediately. So these two categories. Doing a great of ritual worship, but she's hurting the people, which means what she's doing has a dangerous negative value that will wipe out completely what she's doing here. Which means in Islam, while the other one, she's doing just the basic bare minimum, that's it. Just for the prayer, Ramadan, no backbiting, no gossip, no something, no interference in the privacy, no destroying for the reputation, nothing at all. قال هي من أهل الجنة. She's from the people of the Jannah. خلاص. Her file is excellent. She's from the people of the Jannah. We could apply this to hundreds of our behaviors. In Islam, submission does not mean just to know. It's to know and to submit to what you know. Which is part of وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ لَا تَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهَ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. Be careful about what you say. Be careful how you deal, about your attitude. I remember one of the da'iya, an Egyptian brother, he's living in one of the Gulf states. He made a video just a few days ago. He made it live immediately after the incident happened with him. And it happened that I saw it, I think a few minutes after he broadcasted it. He came and said, Ya Jama'ah, he said, people, I don't know how to explain what happened to me. I was in it happened in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, there is like illegal taxi drivers, private. I mean, the people, they do use the private cars as taxis. Which means like Uber, but like randomly Uber, okay? It's not an organized Uber. I mean, the people they know, just to say, toot, like this, which means, do you want a taxi? Just you do like this, you go. So he said, it happened to me that I hired the car. Okay, I want to go such and such place. Okay, please come on. He said, it happened that 2 friends in the car. Then they asked a third friend later to come. So I was an eyewitness that these 2 friends welcome the third friend, and I am the stranger who will pay the money. But there are 3 friends. So the third one came after. Then I witnessed the 2 original friends in the car, one of them who's driving, they were praising their third friend. They say, MashaAllah, you have done a great job in your life. We admire how you achieved such and such in your work, MashaAllah. He started thanking him, praising him, encouraging him, and he was very happy. He said, okay, I was just listening. I'm the stranger. I will pay. I'm just hiring this. But they know each other. So I'm just waiting. So he asked them, he wanted them to drop off. He left. Once he left, both of them, they started, look to this idiot. He thinks that he has done something in his life. So it's this stupid idiot. He thinks that really we are praising him. He's such and such, and he's starting backbiting and gossiping him with the worst description you can ever imagine. He said, it was mind-blowing for me. He was just 1 minute ago praising him and saying all of the things. Once he left, they started, أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَن يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. The ayah says, when you do the gossip and backbiting, Allah is resembling me if I'm doing like someone who's eating the flesh of his brother after he has passed away immediately. Imagine your brother passed away, and after the disaster that he is dead now, you come and you start to cut past part of the flesh of his body and you eat it. This is how Allah is resembling the gossip and backbiting. He said, I left the car immediately. I couldn't. I said, please stop me here. I'm not able to listen to you. He just left and immediately he came to us and said, Jama'ah, I can't imagine how those guys are living. What kind of hypocrisy is this? What kind of double standard is this? What kind of, this filthy, dirty way of thinking? What kind of Islam is this? Subhanallah. This is one of the examples that we need to take care about ourselves, that when we believe, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us that do such and such, be aware of such and such, don't do such, it's not just a word of mouth, which means, okay, no. Believe, declare, and embrace, and practice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will stop now, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. See you next, inshallah, Thursday and next Wednesday with a new session of review for the chapter al-Baqarah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.